That stands, that's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out. And
I don't know if it's reachable for him. If anybody can do it, it's him, and I'm contradicting myself. I just don't see it happening, you know. Could it happen? Yeah, it's boxing.
Terence Crawford is about to face Canelo Alvarez in the fight everyone is talking about. But here's the twist. Crawford isn't just stepping in, he's training with boxing legend Gennady Golovkin. Can Crawford's speed, brains, and power overcome Canelo's strength and pressure? Watch closely, because this fight could change boxing forever. Terence Crawford is reportedly training with boxing legend Gennady Golovkin ahead of his huge fight against Canelo Alvarez. The two are said to be working together to improve Crawford's power, timing, and overall ring intelligence. With Golovkin's experience guiding him, this partnership could give Crawford the extra edge he needs for one of the toughest fights of his career. Fans around the world are watching closely to see how this training pays off. Experts see Terence Crawford as more than just a great fighter, they call him a rare talent. He combines speed, timing, and the ability to read his opponents like no one else. Crawford can switch stances mid-fight and adjust his strategy on the fly, a skill only a few boxers have mastered. His boxing IQ is often described as genius level. Many believe his adaptability and sharp mind make him unique, controlling fights with strategy rather than just power.
But if there is anyone who can do it, it's Terence "Bud" Crawford, a man who survived getting shot in the head, for God's sakes. Like, he is not normal. He is a wizard of boxing. He's got genius IQ, one of the smartest boxers I've ever seen, and he can do it all. He's had over 40 fights. I can't ever remember seeing him like shook or worried. I mean, this is, trained killers trying to take his head off, and he never looks out of pocket. He is like a rapper who just turns up and figures out his lines on the fly and still makes it sound like the best song you've ever heard. Like, that's how amazing he is. Like, I've never seen anyone who can fight out both stances the way Crawford can. I mean, he looks so natural in either stance. That's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out, and when they stand in the pocket and they just go for it. And even in those situations where usually both of you are getting hit, he still manages to hit and not get hit. It's like he's in the Matrix. And this isn't against average fighters, this is against the best in the world at 4 different weight classes, and he's made it look easy pretty much every time he's moved up. I think in the Errol Spence fight, that was a fight that was supposed to be 50-50, the pressure was on, a lot of people thought he was going to lose that fight. He made that look like a boxing lesson, and the reason is when Errol Spence would throw a punch and not get out of the pocket quick enough, he would make them pay every single time. And if people are worried about Canelo's feet being slow, if there's anyone who can punish that, it's Terence "Bud" Crawford. In terms of weaknesses, these guys, they don't really have weaknesses. They've just got things that they maybe not as amazing at. That's the level we're talking here. Canelo has been accused of being a bit of a slow starter, and that could be a problem in this fight.
Analyst Michael Fox pointed out that Crawford's main challenge against Canelo Alvarez is the weight difference. Canelo is naturally bigger and stronger, which could allow him to impose physical pressure. But apart from that, Crawford has the edge in almost every technical area. His footwork creates angles to confuse opponents, his jab is precise, and his timing is elite. His ability to read the fight and switch tactics makes him a nightmare matchup for Canelo. If Crawford handles the power and stays smart, he could dominate the Mexican superstar.
I would like to see Bud pull it off. The thing about it is, I think the only disadvantage Bud really has is the weight. I think he has all the skills and attributes that are required to beat a guy like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's kind of flat-footed. You've seen the fights with Bivol and Laura and even School, who didn't do much, but you see that movement irritates Canelo. You know what I'm saying? When dudes that know how to control the range and stuff like that, he didn't look like the world beater. You know what I mean? The motherfuckers that sat in front of him, them dudes that sat in front of him, we see what he did with him. You know what I mean? But guys like Bivol, who was bigger, but he bouncing in and out. Laura, motherfucking landing counter lefts, and he's circling out, and that shit was fucking with Canelo. Floyd, you know, it probably killed Canelo that Floyd was always only an inch away. Yep. Just a little step back, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, God, that's like I missed by a mile.
That's crazy because he didn't use no movement.
Right.
He stood in the pocket on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Triple G was. You said G? Triple G?
No. I said Floyd didn't use no movement.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. I'm in there to land, then I'm just right here. In there to land, but now I'm right here. It was a bad motherfucker, Joe. Like that's what we never gotta understand. Floyd was a bad motherfucker. But the movement, having good feet under you, helps against Canelo.
New training photos of Terence Crawford's physique have surfaced online, showing him in peak condition with sharp, defined muscles. Fans reacted with curiosity and skepticism, wondering if the images were real or edited. Some even thought they might be designed to intimidate Canelo before the fight. Regardless, it shows how closely fans and analysts study every detail when it comes to a fight of this magnitude.
Shredded wheat and amazing is this photo photoshopped, because this photo that Ilia Tapora posted of Terrence Bud Crawford is the latest photo we've seen, and he looks just less impressive in this photo. Well, the question is really, when were the photos taken? All right, so when you look at this photo and you look at this photo and look at this video of Terence Crawford with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh as Terence Crawford is working out, supposedly just yesterday, right? Which one is Terence Crawford's latest appearance? Because even though this is the latest photo you've seen, doesn't mean this is when the photo was taken. The only reason why people are confused is because this latest photo seems to have been taken in Vegas. And we're approaching fight week and Terence Crawford is already in Vegas. Hence the video with him with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh in Vegas. Now, let me explain all of this. Well, first you gotta look at the hairstyles, right? Terence Crawford in this photo from Ilia Tapora, his hairstyle is totally different than this hairstyle here with Terence Crawford shredded wheat. It is also different than his hairstyle that he has here in the gym with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. You can tell because you can tell how the hair braid, like how it's parted in this photo, and in this photo, they're more parted down the middle, where this, it's slanted, it's in like a diagonal slant, which I'm thinking is his latest.
Adam Smith explained why he favors Crawford over Canelo, highlighting timing as a key factor. Boxing isn't just about skill, it's also about fighting opponents at the right moment in their careers. Canelo has faced tough battles for years, which may have slightly reduced his speed and explosiveness. Crawford, on the other hand, is at the peak of his career, undefeated, motivated, and full of energy. Smith believes this perfect timing gives Crawford the advantage and makes this the ideal moment for him to shine.
To be in Vegas to see, I think Terence Crawford beats Canelo, and I think that it's going to be his coming out party. I'd love to be there, and Canelo, of course, an all-time great. Yeah, but listen, I love Ireland, and I'm pleased to be in Belfast with the zone for Crocker and Donovan. There's something about an all-Irish fight which is fantastic, and it was great and controversial first time around. It's even bigger now, so yeah, let's chat over there and get on with it.
Just a quick one on Canelo Crawford. I heard you pick Crawford, you just said it there. How much of that is down to timing and how much of that is down to styles?
A bit of both. I think Canelo is approaching 70 fights. He's been beaten before. Crawford remains undefeated. I think that the jump up is big, but I think he's got the speed, the IQ, the experience, the know-how to be able to handle it. If he's switched on for every minute of every round, I think he wins, and I think he announces himself to the world on Netflix. And I think he deserves it. I think Terence Crawford's only been really known to the trade fans. Canelo, obviously, a bigger name, bigger star, and look, I fancy Crawford in this fight. Look, nothing against Canelo. Maybe it's a little bit of time in the skull fight. I don't know, but there's plenty that fancy Canelo be too big, too strong, too good. It's Crawford for me.
On Talk Sport Boxing, the debate over Crawford versus Canelo got intense. Some commentators argued that if Crawford loses badly, it might affect his future at the top level. Others believed his skill and intelligence in the ring could expose Canelo's weaknesses. The discussion showed just how high the stakes are for this fight. Every move matters, and the outcome could define Crawford's legacy.
So yeah, there's a big argument that Canelo Alvarez starts the favourite going into this one because he's the super middleweight world champion. Bud Crawford jumping up two weight divisions, and he's jumped up a weight division before that as well, beating Errol Spence. You just look at it and go, it's a massive ask here for Terence Crawford. But something inside me tells me he wins, and we'll get into that later on.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but in the meantime, Canelo, as ever, has left no stone unturned. He's been training at altitude in Sierra Nevada, looking to get the maximum body stamina and preparation advantage. It's something that he's used to, and of course he's going to effectively be the home fighter because Tex-Mexers will be up in their numbers from Texas, also Hispanic fans from all around the United States. The fight is being made on Mexican Independence Day. I don't think you have to be a great crystal ball gazer to know where the bulk of the crowd is going to be rooting when they step out inside those ropes and their names are bellowed out by the ringside announcer afterwards.
Listen, even though the fight happens in America and Terence Crawford is American, it is going to be so pro-Mexican there, because Canelo is accepted. He's like an adopted son there, and Mexican Independence Day, all of that goes so much in favour of Canelo Alvarez. You go, actually, the guy that's a four-division world champion and a superstar of the sport and American will start probably the fan favourite will definitely be Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, definitely. And he's been training with somebody, sparring with a man who he thinks indicates Crawford's style in sparring many rounds against Yaron Ennis.
Analyst George Ferocious Cambosos Jr. focused on Canelo's pressure fighting style. Canelo is at his best when he closes the distance, cuts off the ring, and lands strong combinations. His power and constant forward pressure make him dangerous. Crawford will need to handle the heavy shots and not let Canelo control the pace. Canelo's aggressive style is a weapon that can't be underestimated in this matchup.
Canelo is the pressure fighter. He's got to put the pressure on Crawford. He has to be able to land his big shots. He's seasoned at fighting at super middleweight. He's fought as high as light heavyweight, as we know. So he is accustomed to the bigger punches, the bigger shots. I don't think Crawford can really land anything that's going to trouble a guy like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is such a good pressure fighter, and for him to be successful in this fight, he needs to be able to really cut the ring off very, very well with a guy like Terence Crawford. Now, we saw in Canelo's last fight against Skull that he was not able to really cut him off well. So that has caused a lot of doubters, and people starting to think, Crawford will have that edge in the footwork and the movement department. But, when you're fighting a big fight, you're going to get up for a big fight, and he's really going to be at his best against a guy like Terence Crawford. So I believe he will cut the ring off, very, very well. And for him to be successful, he has to land shots on Crawford, put him in two frames of minds, make Crawford double think every time Canelo goes into and wants to land shots and land shots. Now, a guy like Crawford is so slick, so dynamic, able to punch you from different angles and different stances. We see he switches from orthodox to southpaw. He might fight the whole fight in southpaw. So he's so dynamic. Now, he's the kind of guy that he's going to put Canelo in two kind of frames of mind.
Some analysts remember Crawford's earlier fight against Israil Madrimov, where he seemed less comfortable moving up in weight. Moving up again to face Canelo is an even bigger challenge. Against a naturally bigger and stronger opponent, Crawford's usual advantages could be reduced. Analysts say this makes the fight risky, but also an opportunity for Crawford to prove his skill on the biggest stage.
But a lot of people feel Crawford actually lost that fight. So we've got Crawford is coming in off the back of, well, his previous 2 fights. One of them was brilliant performance. The other one was a bit lackluster by his very high standards, albeit against a very, very good fighter. But you could see in that fight that the size of Israel Madrimov, bear in mind, 154 pounds. Israel Madrimov still fights at 154 pounds. This is super middleweight, 2 divisions more. And we've seen Canelo when he's brought someone up from 154 who was a decent size 154 pounder in Charlo. Crawford's not going to do what Charlo did. Charlo fought like, you know, someone who was completely scared out of his mind and just didn't want to knew he wasn't going to win, but didn't want to get stopped. That was really the look we were getting from Charlo. Crawford is not going to do that. He's a very proud man. He doesn't know what it's like to be defeated. He fully believes in himself, and the shape he looks in phenomenal shape. He's coming into this fight fully believing that he can win this, and that right there is the mindset you need to have. It won't guarantee you victory, but it will give you a better chance than if you went in there thinking, right, just survive and see what happens. I do think that the size difference will be something. Although saying that, look at Canelo Alvarez, we look at his most recent performances, and when's the last fight from Alvarez that's really made you stand up and take note? Caliplant, Billy Joe Saunders, maybe those 2 fights, they were good performances. Lost, clearly, the Dimitri Bivol fight, although it's very close here. It was on the scorecards, it was a clear loss. Against Triple G, it was just a meh performance. Likewise against John Ryder. Charlo, we won't even talk about that. Munguia, it was a bit meh. Again, Berlanga, it was like, okay, and show me something.